And then we need to do some budget transfers. Which are, what are we doing?
There's quite a few of them because there's, some new people getting used to how a budget works. Spending things on things that they shouldn't be spending on right now, but we'll get things straightened around. But there's some pretty good size, some things were uncontrollable, like in the sewer area where we had to fix our sewer truck. That was a $21,000 expense that we weren't expecting. We had budgeted $20,000 for the entire, if you recall, we were under almost like a consent order to get things done at the street department, the doors and the walls and all that kind of stuff. We had budgeted $20,000 to do all of that work, including the sewer machine. Well, the sewer machine came in at $21,000 alone, so we were over budget in that line by quite a bit. But we made the transfers. We've used quite a bit of our contingency accounts already, but we'll have to clamp down on expense moving into the second half of the year. So. And these reports here are through about 42% of the year. So when you see something that's more than 42%, there's some of them that are timing, other things that are, they're just out of whack, where they had to have money transferred into them. So, but you can review that, and if you have any questions along the way, just give me a call.
Right. Thanks. And then we have a request from Village Hall staff to close the Village Hall for December the 22nd and December the 29th, 2017.
Yeah, those are both half days. They usually come to work in the morning, and then leave at noon, so they just want to close the whole day.
Okay.
Can I
Have
ask
the-
something about the transfer?
Yep.
You said there was a lot, is it only in that one department, in that one area, or is there any other, you said there's other transfers we had to do in the budget?
The transfers
We've
are
got a
all...
few.
Does it,
You'll see the budget transfers are all in these lines here. See where it says
Okay.
budget transfer on
Yeah.
1031 and budget transfer on 930. So when you see a dollar amount in any one of those, you won't see it here because that's revenue.
okay.
But any place else, you'll see anything that's like here,
Oh, we're gonna-
budget transfer in October,
Of
$3,000. Yeah. And then you had another budget transfer here in that same line for $10,210. So far this
So,
year,
yeah,
you've made about 14,000.
Right, and so the special items, what would it be then, in the insurance for, what are we doing?
are we
Maybe some
looking?
special items, what was it for?
That's your contingency. Those are the contingency of where the money comes out of in order to cover the overages in the other areas that are over. Contingency really doesn't have a line item.
Oh, so it's not, if you, because it's showing
Well,
here, it
yeah,
doesn't
it shows
affect
there
staff?
because what I'm doing is I'm moving money from here to the lines that are overspent. So if you keep going through the budget, you'll see the
Oh,
lines
and
that are
the,
overspent.
mm.
Okay, so you'll see where they are.
Okay.
And your highlighted items
That's
are
what
the,
Yeah, I highlighted some of the bigger items so that it draw your attention to those.
I was thinking about that the other day, and it seems to me, and maybe I'm wrong in this, but it seems to me that we put together a budget and we try to be as conservative as possible, and we are about to run into these expenses because we should really expect it, and I don't know what the answer is, but we try to make the budget as conservative as possible, and then we have all these problems, but the problems were there from the beginning. So, I don't just a thought. I have no idea how to fix it.
I'm sure I followed your question.
Well, the thing is, if you know, let's say that the roof of your house needs to be replaced, but you say that, well, let's wait another year, and let's wait another year. And eventually you're gonna run into replacing the roof without budgeting the money. And that's what I'm thinking. Like we cut expenses from everywhere, but in the run of the year, and this is only my second year, so maybe I'm wrong, we're about to come and find those expenses that we did not include as big as we should have, probably.
Yeah, there's some emergency expense, that's what your contingency is for. Your contingency account is set up so as to allot a certain amount of money for
That's right, that's contingency,
unexpected
yes.
Expenditures. Other expenditures, I'll give you one example, and not to pick on anybody. We ordered $14,000 of fire hydrants. That wasn't in the budget. We didn't need to buy those now because nobody's gonna go put fire hydrants in the middle of winter. We'll put fire hydrants in the spring, so that could have waited until next May. You put it in the budget, and then you expend the money once it's in the budget. You don't spend the money and then find out, oh, I didn't have that in the budget, but that's what I mean. You have new people in positions that really are unfamiliar with how a budget works, so we're going through the learning curve. This budget report, just so that you know, took me about 3 weeks to make, because there were so many different issues with the budget and how the money was being expended and the transfers between capital and general, and all of that stuff had to be done, so it was like recreating the whole
Budget all over.
5 months, yeah, of stuff. So it became very complex real quick.
Right, yeah, and we should never forget that the village is a multi-million-dollar corporation that we try to run. And it's about to be difficult, especially for people who haven't run it before, like myself. All right, so.
That's really something to look at when you're, next time, because it seems to be just in a couple of departments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All
Keep it
right.
in mind, DPW children.
And then we have the justice report for November 2017. And we have the police department report for November 2017. We have a letter from Taylor Gates, Christ Community Church, for permission to place food collection boxes in the village hall. These are nicely decorated boxes, I suppose.
How long
I
did
don't
it
know
be?
if it's in that letter.
It should-
Yeah, I don't see any
Did they give a
times.
time
No.
frame?
It says contact us by
Place
December
where
5th.
I looked it up, I looked it up. So it's not lingering, it should be, it's
Yeah,
scheduled.
normally they don't leave it
Holidays.
till
I mean, this is
Yeah.
collection, these are collections for
Oh, this is-
Christmas, they're collections for Christmas, I suppose, so, I don't,
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
That's the one down here.
Mhm.
all right.
Because we've done for the press release.
And then we got the draft proposal for the water main replacement. So,
I sent that out to everybody via email. I don't know if you have any questions or concerns or additions, deletions, or anything. We still have time because they're still working on a budget. and that
There's no
type of
money
stuff.
there.
Yeah, there's no money.
There's no
Yeah.
money there.
Yeah, that's why there's nothing to approve at this
Right.
point in
We
time.
applied
We're
for the
kind of
loan.
pushing them.
We've applied for the emergency fund? Is that in?
well, they have to apply for the emergency fund.
Oh, they're doing it.
Yes, what,
Right.
they have to come up with a
Oh,
plan,
wow.
and then upon the approval of the board, they will go and apply for the emergency fund, and then, but it can be not as time-consuming as before, because this is an emergency. But I mean, I read the whole proposal, and there's no money there. I think they cover everything, pretty much,
Yeah.
what we need to do.
Yeah.
And the streets that we were discussing. And so which one, Perry, which one was we were looking at the map, you remember? And then it was not Carroll, it was probably Cottage. Is it Cottage already attached to that 12-inch or not? No. Which one is, and it was not on the...
Brian.
Oh, Brian, all right, okay. So, looks good to me.
Is that off of Holmes? Is that
Yes,
that group?
yes.
Yeah.
That's when we put in the new water line up there, yeah. I think Holmes is where we want them to go.
Holmes, yes.
Mhm.
Yes, that's what.
Pleasant or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're trying to make as many loops as possible, the loops that we need to make. Right? Yes.
So Holmes is the one that's gonna have to go, then, the directional drilling to go to that 12-inch line? Or
Not
not?
Holmes.
No.
No, we're talking about Cottage.
Yeah.
Cottage is gonna go
Cottage,
under the
it's-
railroad tracks and hit the 12 on the other side.
If you see the map, yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because all those are dead ends. College is a dead end at
Yeah.
that very one
Right.
section way up in the back. Okay.
Right here is a loop here. Birchwood already has a 12.
Yeah.
Perry, is that 12-inch line that you're gonna be looping into, is that the one that
No,
there was
here.
the break-in, that had the, where the break, that large break?
Okay.
There was the break, and is that the 12-inch line that you're gonna loop into? Is that the one that had the break on it? It was like,
The one,
it kind of, where end of Clinton, it's way past the end of
Yes.
Clinton, so that is the one that we're going into?
yeah,
We're
that's the
looping
one
in?
with the break in
Well, with that in mind, is there a possibility, I sent some information to you about a surge suppressor. Would that be a possibility at that point, anywhere we make a connection to that 12-inch line, that we put a surge suppressor into that, or recommend that we do so, in order to prevent any further damage in that area?
It'll work just, we can utilize them, but as I said, it's an extremely high cost for that. I'd like to do some more research and talk to the engineers too, to determine whether they want to go that route. Those are like $2,600.
$2,600 a piece. I do know that, but
Yeah, it is.
$2,600 a piece, I think if we put even one or in that area that we're going to be making a connection anyhow, that'd be a good time to do that. I think $2,600 for a lot of prevention would be well worth it. I think that if now would be the time to bring that to the attention of the engineers. I did ask during our
Conference call.
conference call, correct? But I didn't see any mention of it in the proposal. So what I'd like to know is if that could be something we could look into, because that 12-inch line did have a break, substantial break before. And if we're gonna,
I suppose we can ask them, because I wouldn't know anything except what you sent me, to make a decision like that. So probably we can ask them to look into the suppressors to see if they are worth.
Jim, are
The
you saying you
expense.
spoke of that in the phone conversation?
I made a quick reference to it, yeah, because I asked if there was a possibility.
And they had no response?
They didn't actually know about them, and so they said they would look into it, but I didn't hear anything since that. So that was all we talked about. They weren't familiar with them. But other communities are using them. They claim with success, but that's, through the material that the company. I sent information to Perry and the mayor on that, about with two companies that provide a very similar product. So, but Perry's would understand what they are, and he does. And I would hope that the engineering company would look into it on our behalf, with being that this would be a perfect time to install something like that. I know it is a little extra cost, and maybe it could be covered in the grant going forward on this too, possibly, I don't know, but it'd be nice to find out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could see the cost, if you're putting them throughout the whole system, but at least if that, on that large 12-inch line where we had an incident before. You know, and that is what the company that provides the product recommends that you do. As the information that, I think that's what it stated, correct?
Mhm.
So,
Well, that might be an idea too for the other 12-inch line behind Ventura Circle that also ruptured. I mean, just
Or
Well-
any line that's out.
Any
in the
line that's out there.
Not, we're not gonna see it if it breaks, too.
Right.
I mean, those
To
are
protect those
possibilities for future, if you're going to be digging, if you're going in the ground, there's
Might as
the
well put it
time to
in.
do it.
Mhm.
If they recommend at places, strategically put, when you're installing fire hydrants, replacement of fire hydrants at the base of fire hydrants. But in areas that tend to have your most problems. So,
Let's look into it. Yeah.
So,
I mean-
Worth investigating anyway.
that's right, yeah, of course.
so if they
Yes.
could, I mean, like I said, I'm not an engineer, but what I researched and found, I think that could be something that might work for us. But I would like them to take a look at it.
Yes, and I mean, I'm not sure why they haven't responded in any way. I guess you can send an email and see if they can look into that.
If they haven't found the information, if you could relay that, copy of that to them, so that they can then maybe review with that company possibly. Or Perry could.
What do you think? What do you think? I'm sorry.
Could,
Well, did, you said you notified O'Brien and Gear?
well, just verbally during the conference call, but I didn't send them that information. I would assume that they would have that kind of information available to them. but-
I'm sure
but-
they can find that.
But it might be easier just if you forward that to them, or either me or I could, if you would like, if you prefer.
They have merit, I mean, without a doubt. I did the research after you called me on that. A lot of other bigger cities are using them,
Right,
where they've had some surge problems.
right.
Like I said, I'm not educated enough on the use of them, as far as, how valuable they would be in our system. I would rather, I would trust that O'Brien and Gears gave us the go-ahead, or at least looked into it, so that you contacted them already, so. I say we wait and see what they say, and,
Yes.
'cause like
I mean,
I
we
said,
can- we
it's
can
all a
remind
big
them,
expense to
certainly.
jump into without, someone like Lori could tell us, go ahead and do it, and
No, I feel the same way. But I think that it's well worth it
Just-
to ask them to look at it.
just a side note on that 12-inch you were talking about, Jim, that's a duct iron line, that shouldn't have broke.
Right, well, that's when
We
they,
got some cast iron 12s that are more susceptible to breaks than that.
right.
So I would think we would want to look at the entire 12-inch system,
Mm-hmm.
Perry,
not just a specific area.
that 12-inch line behind my house on Ventura, is that ductile
We've
line?
had, in my career, we've had more breaks on that line than a 12-inch in the village.
Yeah, 'cause it,
And it just
Well-
takes one on 112 to break, and it's gonna
It-
send a
it-
send a
shocks.
Shock
spike
waves,
through
yeah.
the whole system, as
Yep.
we just found out.
Right. Well, and if that's the case, that would be then an area that, you would want to consider putting something like that in.
Because it's
I mean,
broken in different places. It's broken in the right-of-way. It broke off of Temple Street at one point, behind, across
I
from
call
the
it an
dorms.
ounce
There was a
prevention.
large
I
break.
mean,
Yes,
There's probably a large break at the end of University with the same one.
yep, that's the same 12-inch that goes up behind your house.
Multiple breaks, yeah.
Yeah, well, same one that comes down Berry Road that we've had 2 breaks in the last year and two. Comes down the ditch.
Was it a
Goes across
defective
the backfield.
pipe to begin with? I mean, were there
I mean, that's what I'm
defects in
thinking.
that particular pipe,
Maybe
the
the whole
year it was
pipe is
built or
defective.
whatever, when it was produced? Maybe that particular one was faulty from the get-go. I don't know.
It's been in the
Could be.
ground for a long time. The one that I would be more concerned with is that 12-inch ductile that runs between the one Jim was referring to, that runs by Walmart, but that's less than 20 years old.
Right.
And for that to be breaking already,
Well, if this is a product that
That's
can
worrisome to me.
minimize the issue, I think that'd be, ounce prevention, it could help for relatively low cost would prevent many, if it's gonna be, prevent many breaks into the future. It just seems to be a smart thing, especially that we're gonna be digging and making connections into it anyhow. Put it in at that time. I realize it's another expense, but we could, I guess the best thing to do is ask the engineering company if how, like I said, I saw dozens of referrals from these cities, that, claim
Do they have any
results.
and I remember you sent it to me and I read it, but I don't remember. Do they have any smaller places or just big cities?
It's all sizes of communities. I mean, it wasn't just big cities, no.
Right, I'm sure it's well worth it to ask a question and see, actually remind them to see what they think about it. Right.
And I think that they could also understand the distance of protection that each one of those would provide. So how much, if there's a pressure problem or a hammer that happens in the line, then how many do you need of these per section of line, to actually do an effective protection?
And my main
so-
question would be what the success rate they have in preventing. Because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but everything was coming from the companies that installed them.
It was from the information was coming from the companies, but it was in reference to communities which they provided the information to contact, and in some cases it was communities that were having upwards of hundreds of a year down, and it reduced it down to just tens a year.
No,
So,
I
I
understand that.
so-
I don't doubt that. It's just I want to hear from communities. Maybe there is one community that didn't work,
Sure.
and that's what I
Yeah, we
want to
should
hear
know. Yeah,
more.
you should know that
Yeah.
if there's somebody who didn't find a success.
Or if there is, I mean,
Correct.
what's the rate of success, what the percentage of,
Right.
if we put 10 down, all 10 of them are going to work, or 8 or 7 or 3? I
Right.
mean,
No, I understand. Great.
that's what I mean. But we can certainly ask.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mayor, before you move on to old business, may I add something more to new business real quickly? Over the past 2 weekends here, myself and some other trustees and the mayor attended some really nice events around our community. 2 weekends ago, Miracle on Main Street was put on. I guess the festivals, Fredonia put that on. It was a very nice event, a lot of different things going on, horse-drawn carriage. This last weekend here, the fire department had a stew party. Myself, the mayor, and trustee Linden attended, had a good time. And I also presented a presentation to an Eagle Scout at a Eagle Scout Court of Honor, which was very nice. I had a question about there was an article in the paper here, I think on Saturday, from Don Stager regarding the hospital. I didn't know if anybody read that or not.
I did read that.
North End Water District, is that our water district?
Yes.
Okay, that's not to be confused with the North County Water District.
It's-
So it is because we have a line running all the way to, what road is that? Where's our line run out that way, far out to? Our water line runs out to where? 20 Swamp and Christie?
Christie,
So that should be our line. I was just,
Yes.
hopefully it wasn't, because I heard
It
that.
should be, and it is.
Because part of the property that they're going to be utilizing is also in the town of Dunkirk, or something like that, was it?
No,
Everything's in the town of
none of the
Pomfret?
property is in the town of Dunkirk, no.
Okay.
The way he presented it, though, he made it sound like, he said that the hospital isn't going to be built up by the roadway, it sets way back. And when if you know the demographics of that, it appears then, and that's why he's probably asking, is it going to sit in the east town of Dunkirk?
Well, according to DIS, the county DIS, I checked the parcels that they said that they already purchased, and none of them is in the town of Dunkirk. So there are about 3 or 4 actually together and all of them sit on the town of Pomfret.
That's good.
To the best of my knowledge, yes,
Okay.
definitely.
I wanted just to clarify that because I didn't want to be confused and assume that was
I
that.
understand, yes.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was Agri-America. It's a food co-op, a grape co-op, just bought the Cliff Star plant. It's purchasing, or in the process of purchasing the Cliff Star plant on Water Street, so that's a positive economic stimulus for our area. It's creating 100 and some jobs, not necessarily all within the plant itself, but throughout the process of grape
And actually,
processing.
they were rated as highest priority from REDC, Regional Economic Development Council in Buffalo. And they applied for a CFA grant, the same one as we got last year from the grants, and they're expecting, we're hoping that they're going to get money from that, which is very good news, yes.
That's really good. So whichever way this administration can assist them, I really look forward to that because it's just one more thing that can, it's economic development with jobs. It'll create revenue with sewer and water. And,
Definitely, yes.
hopefully it'll work out real well. So I know Eric Cuddy there, the one gentleman, I don't know the other one, but I wish him luck.
On another note too, like this with Doug, the group home where my daughter is a resident at, it's run by the Resource Center, and they were challenged with all the resource homes within the county to raise some money to donate to a certain thing. And what they decided to do in this particular home is to save their bottles. So over about a year and a half, maybe a little bit longer, they had been saving bottles and that, and they chose to donate to the fire department because
All right.
they've come up several times to transport our folks. And so I had contacted Ryan about it, and he did come up. So you may see something in the paper, because I have the wonderful article that they put in through, they have their own paper, the Resource Center, but they collected well over $200 that they donated to the
Oh,
fire
nice.
department.
Very nice.
So a lot
Very
of
nice.
drinking water,
Yes.
not pop. So I just want to say, and thank you, Ryan, for coming up. He brought some of the, I think probably whoever was in the fire hall came up with them, and of course, all they have to do is see the truck, and so the residents came out, the 4 that were there, so it's nice that they appreciate the services that the village is providing to them.
Very nice. That was really nice. Great. Well, since we are in this spirit of good things happening, I attended a very nice event. That was the 90th birthday of Doug Shepard, who is, I never knew him from before. I heard about it. I have heard about him. I read some of his work, but I got to meet him, and is a very impressive individual, a Brooklight who came here and became one of our most celebrated and prolific historians of the area. He has many nice histories to talk about, and it was I had a really nice time talking to him. So happy birthday, Mr. Shepard. One more thing that I want to say here. I want to thank the friend of mine on Facebook who actually pointed out that the lights at the tennis court and basketball court at the Russell Joy Park was on. And I want to assure everybody that we are thinking about preservation, and we are very sensitive to spending money. However, we don't know everything. So if you see something, please tell us. I had no idea that was going on. I understand that sometimes the timer just resets itself, and so now we will turn everything off, and we shouldn't have any problems like that. But please, if you see something that is odd, just, text, send an email. Don't put it on Facebook straight away, because I just saw it by accident. But let us know so we can fix it. That thing. And then I just want to mention, because Mr. Musso was at my office again, and we talked about the easement. And I understand that this easement should be the one that runs Wheeland and not a regular access easement. You feel that this is more protective to the village?
Yes, that's correct, Mayor.
Yes, okay. So they will have to hire a surveyor, you say?
Yes, for a legal description of the easement that we need. And I've been working with Rick and Barry on it. We were working on it today, and we should have something early next week for the
Okay.
surveyor to work on.
All right, very good. So thank you very much. I just wanted to mention that so they know. All right, the other thing under all business is that we have, if you remember, we put an RFP out for design and services for the Barker Common, so we can use the $300,000 that we, the state provided. And we have 3 proposals. The proposals are for the plan, so we have to approve one of the proposals, so they come up with a plan, and from that point down we go to construction. As I understand it, after speaking to one of these firms, we are already late for next season. So if we are lucky, we're going to do some very basic things like improving the ground or some trimming of the trees, because by the time we approve this and that firm goes out to actually put the plans together and come back to be approved again and go to the other bid for construction, most of the construction companies will have already plans for next year. So what I want to do, and what happened now, we cannot print them, what happened now with this, and we can give it to the trustees? Because I'd like them to have them as soon as possible, so
Well,
we can
they're gonna
approve
have to
one of
come
them
here
next
and look
week.
at them because the files are too big to email.
Okay.
They're-
Can we Gmail them? Somebody told me that if we Gmail them, it's going to be, the Gmail is going to send a link instead of the whole file.
Where's the
Create a
link gonna
shared
go?
folder, and then everybody who has.
You like
a
on a
link-
drive, on the
yeah,
drive?
on G Drive, on Google Drive, and then everybody who has a link can go in and view it.
Mhm. I don't know how to do that.
It depends
I
on how
can do
big
it
it is,
tomorrow if
because there's
I-
size limits for that too.
Okay, so I'm
You
going to try
have
to do
thumb
it
drives with
tomorrow.
all of their data on there, but when I went to go email, it just kicks back and says the file's too big. Because they're all colored pictures, and so it sucks.
And
up a
I
lot
mean,
of
you
data.
can take a look, definitely. I just want everybody to have something to review this week. I want something to be passed next week. So we go to the next step. And to be honest, I believe that this board that came this far has to approve this first step, one of these proposals anyways.
Now, were we tied into a constraint time with that, the grant that it had to be done and the project it had to be done, I thought
Yes,
By
according
August
to
of
our
eight-
proposal is December 2018,
that's what I thought.
but we will get an extension to that. The thing is, we have to do some things. We can't just stay stagnant in that. So, because I asked about that, and we can get an extension.
Okay, so if we approved up to do the beginning projects, it's not something that when we hit the next phase, they'll say, well, no, you're late, and
Oh, yeah, no,
no,
we
they're-
talked,
we're
we
there-
talked to
okay.
we already talked to the parks, the department, and they know about that. And pretty much most of the people get an extension at some point. I'm just hoping it's not going to be an extension for, the huge, biggest part of the project. So, this is that. And now we can go to executive, please.
I hereby make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular persons or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person.
I second.
Trustee Crayley. Trustee Christina. Trustee Linden.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Esser.
Yes.
Good evening. Let's call this meeting to order. At a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia, duly called and held on the 11th day of December 2017 at 7:55 in the Trustees Room, second floor, Village Hall, Fredonia, New York, and public notice of the time and place of this meeting has been given to the news media and conspicuously posted in one or more designated public locations in accordance with Section 104 of the Open Meetings Law.
Whereas members of this board present at this meeting have read the official minutes of the Board of Trustees regular meeting of November 13th, 2017, special meeting of November 20th, 2017, and regular meeting November 27th, 2017. Now therefore, be it resolved, this board approves the minutes as entered into the official minutes, and be it further resolved that the reading of the minutes be dispensed with.
Second.
Trustee Crayley. Trustee Christina.
Yes.
Trustee Linden.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Esser.
Do I need to abstain because I was not here for the November 20th meeting? I will abstain.
Accepted. Reports.
We have two reports tonight. We have the Justice Report for the month of November 2017. Total parking tickets, fines, and surcharges of $13,051 were collected. Total cases heard 153. There were 66 vehicle and traffic, 43 criminal, 33 village ordinances, 2 civil cases, and 9 ABCs.
Thank you.
The second report is the police report for the month of November 2017. There were a total of 740 incidences reported, 19 accidents, 42 arrests, vehicle and traffic 28, and 65 parking tickets issued. And that's it for reports.
Thank you. Correspondence was received from Taylor Gates, youth group leader of Christ Community Church, requesting permission to place creative, decorated by youth boxes for collection of donated, non-perishable food cans during the holiday season for donations to local food pantries. Correspondence was received from the Secretary of the Fredonia Volunteer Fire Department to reinstate Robert Legrano to the active roles.
Be it resolved that the name of Robert Legrano, 74 Gardner Street, Fredonia, is hereby reinstated to the active roles of the Fenner Hose Company effective immediately.
Second.
Trustee Crayley.
Yes.
Trustee Christina.
Yes.
Trustee Linden.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Esser.
Yes.
Correspondence was received from the Secretary of the Fredonia Volunteer Fire Department to add Sky Mitchell and Christopher Eberly to the active roles.
Be it resolved that the names of Sky Mitchell, 2080 Central Avenue, Fredonia, and Christopher Herbal, 280 Central Avenue, Fredonia, are hereby added to the active roles of the D.R. Barker Hose Company effective immediately.
I second.
Trustee Crayley.
Yes.
Trustee Christina.
Yes.
Trustee Linden.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Esser.
Yes.
Correspondence was received from the Secretary of the Fredonia Volunteer Fire Department to add Joshua Tressler to the active roles.
Be it resolved that the name of Joshua Tressler, 54 Wisteria Drive, Fredonia, is hereby added to the active roles of the J.S. Lambert Hook and Ladder Company effective immediately.
Second.
Trustee Crayley.
Yes.
Trustee Christina.
Yes.
Trustee Linden.
Aye.
Trustee Jones. Trustee Esser.
Yes.
Have the public portion. Is anybody from the public desires to say something? I guess not.
Be it resolved that the schedule of the of the meetings of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia for the period of January 2018 through June 2018 as set forth and attached to these minutes is hereby approved. And be it further resolved that the village clerk is hereby authorized to publish said notice in the Observer and to mail a copy of said schedule to WDOE Radio and the Jamestown Post-Journal and the Buffalo News.
I second.
Trustee Greeley?
Yes.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden? Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Essek?
Yes.
Thank you.
Be it resolved that the attached schedule of budget transfers for the months of September and October pursuant to Section 5-520 of the village law is hereby approved.
I second.
Trustee Greeley?
Yes.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Essek?
Yes. Be it resolved that the Village Hall offices will be closed Friday, December 22nd, and Friday, December 29th, 2017, both half-days, and that each village employee will use a personal vacation day.
Second.
Trustee Greeley?
Yes.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden? Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Essek?
Yes.
Thank you. Before we go, I want to mention again that the 21st of December, our youth council is organizing a candlelit stroll, 2 meeting places in the village, one by the fire hall and one by Cup and Spell, the tea room, the new tea room. It's going to be caroliers from high school. Please take your families, take your children, take anybody, everybody, come down. It's going to be a procession from both places down to the Barker Common. At the Barker Common, it's going to start at 6:30, by the way. At the Barker Common, we will have hot chocolate and cookies for everyone, free. And it's going to be followed at 7:30 by a free showing of Christmas Story in the Opera House. Everyone is invited. Please come down to celebrate Christmas. And with that,
Is that French? Christmas story?
Mhm.
No,
No, it's
humbug.
yes, that's a good idea. Also tomorrow, there is a school board of education meeting. Please, if you are interested, please attend. They're going to discuss the SRO situation. So it's going to be a good thing for us and also to support the middle school principal.
Is that 6:30?
6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock tomorrow.
If there is no further business, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Trustee Greeley?
Yes.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden? Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Essek?
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming.
I'm going to get a Manhattan cigarette.